We're often celebrating anniversaries in the world of old cars, some more exotic than others, but this year it's the turn of one of the more humble models, the Morris Marina. Launched 50 years ago in 1971, the Marina, and it's the sort of car where it always appears in those books you get given at Christmas if you've ever expressed an interest in old cars. As an auntie or someone will give you a book of 10 world's worst cars or crap cars or the worst cars in history, and you'll often find the BL cars in there, the Marina and the Allegro and cars like that. Were they all that bad? Do they deserve to be in these lazily written books? And to find out, we're going to take the Marina for a spin and see whether it lives up to the hype. You know, sometimes you think, poor old British Leyland, they couldn't do right for doing wrong. They try and sell the public advanced front-wheel drive cars with really good space efficiency, and the private people buy them, but the fleets aren't interested. So they designed something like the Marina that really was a conventionally engineered, very basic car, designed to appeal specifically to the fleet market and attack the Cortina, and people still slate it. But back in the day, it wasn't that bad. They managed to export 38% of Marinas, which is not a bad sum, is it? Especially considering that they really struggled to actually make the things in the early years, certainly because of the terrible industrial relations problems. But the Marina, well, is it a Morris Marina underneath? Well, sort of it is, and sort of it isn't. After British Leyland was established in '68, management realised that they didn't really have anything truly new in the pipeline. The Minis and the 1100 were selling well enough, but only to private buyers. And the fleet market, well, they wanted something really conventional, something of a reasonable size, but something that was easy to maintain and cheap to maintain. BL didn't really have a suitable platform, but they needed a car ready, and the brief that was given was that they needed to be ready pretty quickly, like in 2 years, for the Earls Court show in 1970, and that really didn't give anybody any time to develop anything fresh, even if they'd had the funds to do it. So they had a look around and they thought, why not use the Morris Minor? Reliable, rugged, well proven. So that's what they did. They took the Morris Minor, lever arm dampers and everything, A-series engine, and they got Roy Haynes, ex-Ford man of course, to style a modern looking body. So the result was the Marina. And I'm driving a really early Marina here, 1971 car that's part of the British Motor Museum collection. Had one owner all its life, who cherished it, quite obviously, and then bequeathed it to the museum. Is it as bad as all those 10 worst cars books would have you believe? Do you know, it's not, it really isn't. Okay, if you drive it really hard, it probably understeers a touch. I'm not going to do that with this one. But it's got a lovely light gear shift. It rides well. I mean, it rides better than a lot of brand new cars you might drive. Certainly most of the BMWs. It's got a decent turn of speed. It's the 1300 A series, this one. It's not the big bore 1800. But actually, it's very easy to drive. It's undemanding. It's got a good visibility from a nice big glass area. But it's a fine car, really, for the market at which it was aimed. And I'm hoping that all those Marina people who have spent years feeling that they've been the butt of all the really undeserved jokes are going to feel a little bit better after seeing this, because, you know, I think it's as good as a Cortina, really, and I've had Cortinas. What not everyone realises is that the Marina was originally designed as an Escort competitor, so it's a little bit bigger than an Escort, and obviously the thinking was that they could offer more metal for your money, could offer a slightly bigger car at the same cost. Halfway through the development programme, they decided to step it up a size and make it into more of a Cortina competitor, which brought a few problems. They needed a bigger range of engines for a start. The engine bay was designed to accommodate bigger engines, so they were able to put the B series in as well as the A series, and they were then able to create the 1800 model, which, believe it or not, was an unlikely performance car because it turned out to have a higher top speed than the MGB with the same engine. Mention the Marina driving experience to anyone who knows much about old cars, and they'll probably mention Understeer, and it's true that the very early pre-production cars sent out for press road tests understeered really badly, so badly in fact that autocar and motor journalists for once teamed up, went up to see the Longbridge guys and said, look, you know, these cars aren't safe. Whereupon they were told that production cars would have an entirely different setup. They had a revised trunnion which gave it more negative camber and reduced the understeer. This is an early production car, and I know I'm not driving it fast, but it really doesn't feel like the terror that all the urban myths and rumours that you've heard would suggest. It's got a lovely light gear shift, the steering's light but positive. It rolls a little bit on its old-fashioned tyres. Really, I can't fault it by the standards of 1971, which was when this one was made. And I think if you step from this into an Escort or a Cortina, you probably wonder why the Marina gets so slated so badly. Those little coffee table books, they'll tell you the Marina was a ghastly failure, but was it? Well, at one point in 1971, they managed to sell 20,000 in a week. By the time they'd stopped making the Marina, they'd managed to sell 1,135,343. The Marina was only ever conceived as a stopgap car, which makes its achievements in the market all the more impressive. This 1971 original is really the Marina at its best. Last week I drove a 1979 car, and by then it really was starting to show its age. The Cortina had been through a few updates by then, and really the Marina was on borrowed time. But this 1971 car, pretty much the perfect tool for the job if you wanted a no-frills, fleet market car for the early 70s. And what's my verdict? Do I think the Marina still belongs in all those little books of 100 world's worst cars? I don't think it does. I think in 1971, if you wanted a fleet car, and I think if you'd bought the Cortina, it was more of the same. Bought the Escort, it was more of the same. I think the Marina doesn't really deserve all the criticism it's got over the years, to be honest.